We're the first generation to feel the impact of climate change and the last generation that can do something about it.
President Obama announcing his plan to curb power plant emissions, becoming the first president to make a major attempt to slow global warming. The EPA mandate will place strict carbon emission limits on states. Already, some, including Wisconsin, have threatened legal action to stop the restrictions. Governor Walker said the new limits would kill manufacturing in the state and cost ratepayers billions. We're exploring the effect of this plan today with Keith Riopel of Clean Wisconsin and Scott Manley of Wisconsin Manufacturers and Commerce. Gentlemen, it's good to have both of you on the program today.
Great to be here.
I'll begin with you, Scott Manley. In a nutshell, briefly, what are your concerns about this?
The concerns are the costs and what those costs are going to do to manufacturing jobs in our state. We're the #1 state in the country in terms of the most manufacturing jobs per capita. But in order for those jobs to be viable, we need access to affordable and reliable energy. And what this carbon rule is going to do is significantly increase the cost of electricity in our state. If you remember back in 2008, President Obama, when he was candidate Obama, promised to make electricity prices necessarily skyrocket. This rule is going to do that. The estimate from our state utility commissioners is between $4 billion and $13 billion.
So you think at the end of the day, this is ultimately a job killer?
Absolutely.
In Wisconsin. Keith Riopel, you see this much differently. You've said these are reasonable, achievable goals.
Absolutely. They are reasonable and achievable goals for Wisconsin and for the nation. We see this as a really critical step to address carbon pollution, which currently there are no limits on carbon pollution from the largest sources, which are power plants. This is a critical step to address it for lots of reasons, but especially public health, protect our children and future generations, but it'll have an immediate impact. This will reduce asthma attacks in our children by 90,000 less asthma attacks in children, over 150,000 less premature deaths as a result of this rule. So there's very tangible benefits, and Wisconsin can absolutely do this without, really without, in the long run, any increase in costs in our energy bills. In fact, EPA's own analysis of their rule that they just put out Monday shows that there would actually be a slight decrease in energy bills. And the study that Scott Manley referred to just now by the PSC was a study of a completely different proposal. So it's apples and oranges, and it was loaded to aim high in terms of the cost to begin with.
I could tell you want to get in here.
I mean, listen, it was a different rule, but the latest version of the rule actually got worse for Wisconsin. So there are 16 states where the final version of the rule has a deeper and more stringent emission reduction requirement, and Wisconsin is one of those states. So if anything, we think that the final version of the rule is probably going to be more expensive than the prior version. I mean, and the idea that we're going to require utilities to spend many billions of dollars, and that's somehow not going to be passed along to ratepayers, and that in fact bills are going to go down, as Keith and the EPA have suggested. I mean, that's just nonsense. And this, you know, the idea that EPA says your electric bill is going to go down, this is the same administration that said, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor, and we're going to reduce your health care bill by $2,500 a year. That didn't happen.
Keith Riopel, I want to have you respond to something that, you know, Gail Klappa, the CEO of We Energies, was on this program back when some of this was initially being talked about, and he said, you know, what we're worried about is we're not getting credit for things we have done. Since 2000, we've invested $8 billion in new efficient infrastructure. We have reduced carbon emissions significantly over that same period of time. But that's not being recognized by the government. You're making it really hard on us to do business. Well, what do you say to that?
He's referring to their investment in the Port Washington plant, primarily. He's referring to the fact that in 2003, 4, 5, in that ballpark, they converted a coal plant in Port Washington to a very large natural gas plant. And the fact is they will actually get a lot of credit for that under this plan. That move was a very useful move for We Energies, and it will absolutely help them to comply with this. It is really hard to feel sympathy for We Energies in this context because they just built 2 large coal plants at the same time. Right after they converted Port Washington, then they built 2 large coal plants at Elm Road. We and
that
other
the PSC directed them to build, by the way.
We and SC Johnson Corporation and others took them all the way to the Wisconsin Supreme Court to try to get them to build gas plants instead of coal plants, which would have been much better for public health in the Milwaukee area. But they insisted on coal plants, and now they're going to have to pay to reduce their coal emissions. So it's really hard to feel sympathetic for them.
Yeah, Keith's just wrong, though, because it wasn't We Energies, it was the Public Service Commission that directed them to build coal plants. In fact, they had proposed a gas plant at Oak Creek, and the PSC chose coal. But I think what Mr. Klappa was talking about is they're not getting any credit for any of the renewable energy that they've already implemented in this state. In order to meet this rule, you're going to have to build a lot of renewables, and they get credit for nothing.
Let me pursue that issue, though, the renewable energy issue. I mean, you talk about the job losses, but aren't there job creation possibilities if the state pursues a more aggressive renewable energy portfolio? I mean, we've lagged behind, for example, in wind power. We lag behind Iowa. We lag behind Minnesota. We really haven't done that. Siting's difficult for wind power plants. I mean, couldn't this be an economic opportunity if it's played right?
No, I mean, it really isn't. And there's an opportunity to have a diverse energy portfolio, and certainly we support that. But you got to look at cost. And I just saw a study this week that said that it's 3 times more expensive to site wind energy than to use existing coal baseload. And the fact is that wind energy and solar energy are intermittent sources of energy. They can't provide the constant flow of energy that people need so that when they flip the light switch, they get electricity. So the bottom line is that this rule is going to significantly increase energy prices, and higher energy prices, Mike, they're not a recipe for job growth. It's a recipe for job destruction.
Keith Riopel, I'm going to give you the final word. I mean, 60% of our electricity is basically coming from coal in this state.
That's right.
Surely there is going to be some impact if we have to make all these changes.
There's a cost to building anything, and you have utilities proposing to build new power plants right now. And so, of course, there's a cost to add to infrastructure. What the PSC study that Scott referred to earlier completely ignored is the fact that you can get a lot of carbon emission reductions from investing in energy efficiency, which Wisconsin has done a pretty good job of, but we could do a lot more of it. And when you do that, you get a direct reduction in energy bills, and that's how you offset those costs.
Scott Manley is with Wisconsin Manufacturers and Commerce. Keith Riopel is with Clean Wisconsin. Appreciate your time today. Thanks to both of you.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Coming up next, we'll take a look inside the spin room of the first GOP primary debate with our reporter on the road with Scott Walker when Upfront continues.